All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a while. Okay, I have not played Rain World in like a month. Do I even know how to play this game? I guess it looks like it. Yeah. Hello. Welcome to the stream. If you want, you can pretend this is a intended percent speedrun, but I'm not under any pressure to go fast. At least that's the plan. I don't know. Maybe I'll do something different. I just kind of want to remember how to play this game. How's the headache? Mostly gone, I think. I hope. Um, it's the most bizarre thing. But you could basically think of it as like just a random chance every day. Does it happen or not? And for a while it was like an 80% chance it would happen, but now it's like a 10% chance or lower because it's been a while. It happened yesterday, which kind of made me worried. I'm like, oh, is this gonna happen again? Is this can I start streaming again? But you know, I feel great. I mean, I actually felt great every day except for what. Don't worry about it. But I think I'm like 90% better. So hopefully I can start up streaming again. But hello everyone. Welcome to the stream. I need to remember how to stream. I need to like how do I do this again? Actually, what am I doing? It's like garbage waste, right? Garbage waste, shoreline, and then um and then like exterior, or like I guess shaded and exterior. That's the route, right? Do you have to go back to Moon after going to Pebbles? I assume that after Pebbles you just go down to like farm rays and then depths. Oh, that's that means reindeer. That's gonna be fun. Okay. I didn't want that fruit anyway. Oh, I don't actually need it. I know what I'm doing. I've done this before. So about Rain World. I think Rain World is there's some interesting stuff going on. Pick up the. There's some interesting stuff going on. The multiplayer mod sounds really exciting. I don't know what the status of that is, because there was like that trailer, but that is like coming soon. But is that like in like a few weeks or like in a few months? I don't know. But that'll be great. Watcher. Watcher is in a few months still, but that's gonna bring a lot of attention back to the game. Will I want to speedrun? That's a big question. Oh, hold up. I gotta try this. Oh yeah. Bingo. Okay. Well, I'll talk about that later. What was I literally just saying? Oh yeah, speedrunning. I don't know if I want to speedrun this game too much. When I think about it, I think my motivation to speedrun is kind of based on like an opportunity. where I look at a game and I see, let's say it's a popular speed game like Celeste. Okay, Celeste is a fun game, and I look at the speedruns and I see world records that are incredibly optimized. You know, Celeste has passes that have like pretty much perfect demonstrations of how fast you can go in the game. There's tons of speedrunners who are incredibly skilled. You do, you know, speedruns that get surprisingly close to the pass. Or they do like various challenge runs, deathless runs, you know, all sorts of things. The speedrunning scene in Celeste is very impressive. I see that and I think I don't need to speedrun this game. People are already doing it. What am I gonna add other than, you know, it should be for my own sake. If I really enjoyed the game, which, you know, Celeste is fun, but I don't think I'm particularly motivated to speedrun it on its own. Like the whole game is like about an hour, or I guess a bit faster, depending on your skill level. So, you know, a whole run takes like an hour, and that's a lot of movement to like memorize and like strategy and whatever. If I really enjoyed the game and I wanted to keep playing it, I guess speedrunning would be a good excuse. And, you know, that would, you know, it's less about getting a record or like doing something new. It'd be more about improving your own skills. For Rain World, that was how it was at first. I enjoyed playing the game. I wanted to, you know, learn more movement, and that kind of led into speedruns. But then Downpour came out, and there's all these new characters and all these new speedruns, and not many people did it. There wasn't that much activity. Like, I think some of the earlier speedruns were like a Saint speedrun and like an Artificer Pilgrimage. Is that what you would call that category? The one where you get the echoes and go to the depths. That was a speedrun that was done. But like there weren't all that many. I'm like, what about the sword percent runs? What about just beating the game normally? What about doing that for all these characters? And that's what I wanted to do, and I did it, and I did well. I got some world records. I was like, okay, if I'm capable of getting world records in these categories that are relatively inactive, then I think I should do that. Just to kind of show what's possible. To basically say, hey, there's like an opportunity here for a speedrun to optimize like a route that can be improved, or a run that can be done deathless, you know, whatever. And I want to do that. I want to show that it's possible. And I did that for 4% runs. Excuse me. And then I ran out. There's only so many runs that I like really enjoyed playing. And I think I actually, even within the story percent, I started running into the more difficult runs, you know, Spearmaster or Hunter. Like, do I enjoy doing these more difficult speedruns or longer runs, like 100%, that are potentially already optimized? You know, there's already people who are interested in running 100% or running Hunter. So, you know, my motivation to speedrun the game isn't super high. Oh. Yeah, okay, I'll just leave. I think that for the Watcher, you know, that's a new thing. When the Watcher comes out, I'll probably speedrun that. I don't know how much more there will be. I mean, Downpour had so much new stuff. Maybe Watcher will have like 2 speedrun categories. Maybe, I guess 100% too. I don't know if there'll be multiple endings. You know, who knows how that will go. Hello, welcome to the stream. Someone needs to beat all your records to make the game interesting. I don't know, but I think I realized that the thing I enjoy about speedrunning is that first stage of learning the routes and then improving your time significantly. You know, each time you finish a run, it's like a few minutes of time save, you know. Whereas the more you optimize it, you get to the point where you're not guaranteed to finish a run every attempt, and even if you do finish a run, it's probably slower until you get that one really lucky run, and that's the point where it kind of gets really tedious and frustrating. I think one thing that could make speedruns more interesting is a good timer on individual screens. A good way to test tons of different movement options and figure out which one is the fastest out of all of them. Do that for every single room in a run, and now you actually have a solid route to follow instead of just winging it the whole time. Because I think that's the way that I've been speedrunning the whole time. You know, what feels fast, what feels easy to do. Okay, just get used to one way of doing things and then just do that. Maybe if your body flops around in a different way, then change things around. But having a good like timer or way of comparing different routes, that'd be nice for optimizing. Did finish it? Okay. Well, maybe I'll look into that. But then again, maybe that makes some runs so difficult if you're always trying to follow the most ideal movement. That it's like the same. It's like randomness for your movement. You know, you might mess up the ideal movement and then you have to take a slower alternative. I guess that's kind of what you're doing already. You know, maybe I'll just leave. Hello. Welcome to the stream. I will say, I'm not speedrunning. You may have seen some of the videos I've uploaded. Oh, he's still here. Yeah? You want this? Yeah, goodbye. So there's this game that came out recently, or I should say games. It's called UFO 50. Made by a bunch of very cool indie developers, including the developer of Spelunky, which is a game that I enjoy a lot. Specifically Spelunky 2, I should specify. I've not played Spelunky 1 or Classic. And it's a collection of 50 retro-inspired games. Kind of like NES era. But they're like partially like based on like the like hardware limitations of the time. Like limited sounds or color palette, but also like, you know, like full screen, you know, better resolution, like, you know, kind of modernized. I've been playing that a lot, and also speedrunning it. So I think I'll be streaming that soon. Maybe tomorrow, maybe like within the next week. But there's just so many games, and some of them have like really interesting speedruns. I thought that was a King Vulture for a second, but that's not even possible. That was literally it. If you wanted, like, the games that I played over this break was UFO 50. Actually, let me check. It might just be that. Yeah. Literally just UFO 50. I remember that I also spent a significant amount of time not able to do anything. Like several hours for multiple days. Where am I going? The toll. Okay. Yeah, I don't really know how lineaging applies to like vultures. They don't really have a normal kind of den. Den specifically. Hello. Yeah, the UFO 50, or some games within the collection I've enjoyed a lot, and I want to speedrun more in the future. One of them is maybe surprising and probably not the kind of game that you think I'd be playing. But there's also this behind world record. Please reset. You are not being optimal. Oh, okay. Don't do that. Don't recommend doing a slide pounce there. Or I think you can do like this and then this. There's this potential speedrun of playing all the UFO 50 games in a row. We're calling it the all gold disc speedrun. And it's very daunting, obviously, speedrunning 50 games. It's just a lot to learn, but also a lot to do in one session, which you probably wouldn't do in one session. I think you're allowed to take breaks and that kind of thing. But the community effort to route out... I do not eat any food. There's food in the next area. The community effort to route so many different speedruns has been like one of the most interesting things to watch and also be a part of a little bit. Just like so many different people of all sorts of different like skill sets and like backgrounds in terms of what kind of games they play, all like coming together to make a route for one person to follow, or maybe a few people. The handful of people who are attempting to do a speedrun of all 50 games in a row. It's just crazy, and it is something that's kind of made me excited about speedrunning. Will that carry over into Rain World? I don't know. As I said earlier, you know, not the most motivated. I mean, maybe this break is what I needed to enjoy Rain World a lot more again. I'm thinking maybe if there's any that I would try, it'd probably be Saint, because there's been some activity, some more than I expected. You know, people speedrunning Saint. That's pretty cool. But I know that my own run can definitely be improved. But also, like, that run had some pretty bad RNG here and there. Yeah, I mean, of course I could stream whatever. Maybe I'll get around to playing Cogmind. There's this, okay. I'm thinking about uploading a video about this game called VV Dairy. Probably not how you say it. It's probably hard to find. It's a pretty obscure game. A demo just came out for it, and it's actually like potentially like the next big roguelike. Kind of similarly to like Enter the Gungeon. It kind of has that kind of feel, but I think it could be better. Oh, look at that! It's like I've practiced that before. It's a super cool game. I want to make a video about it, and by a video I mean like a. It's not like edited or anything. Oh, hello. Got pushed by the edge of the screen into that. Super cool game. I'll definitely stream it once the game releases. Or I think it's gonna release in early access first. Oh yeah, moon percent flashbacks. I guess that's the same kind of route that you follow in a 10% speedrun. Sorry, I have not seen the actual runs at all. I've not looked at this game at all. I think you go down here. Oh, yeah, and unlock. Favorite game. Hello, welcome to the stream. Doing this too. This is a fun part of this area too. So I'm just supposed to talk to Moon, right? That's the point of the intended percent. You know, you're kind of guided to Moon, and then you go to the pebbles, even if you don't really do anything. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Sometimes. I've noticed that. Well, actually, it's kind of hard to not notice it. Rain World has this kind of like virus-like quality, where oh dear, where fans of the game love to like spread it around. Like in any discussion about like underrated like indie games or about games where there's like an ecosystem or where you aren't the main character, even if the like discussion is not about Rain World at all or doesn't bring it up, people will be there to say, hey, you know about this game called Rain World? It's like kind of exactly what you're talking about here and it's amazing. Well, they're everywhere. Rain World fans are everywhere. And they could be summoned at any moment. Or you like randomly see someone with like a Rain World related like profile picture or username. But I guess that's not unnatural. That happens for like literally everything. It's just that, you know, if you're familiar with the game, it's easy to notice. No way, it's the Rain World font. um Yep. Wow, it's super windy outside. Eat the neurons. I'm not gonna eat the neurons. Would it actually be beneficial to eat the neurons in a speedrun? I guess there's no like penalty, and you get some light out of it, and you're going to shaded. I guess, or hold up. Do you go through Do you go through Pebble's structure, like enter from the bottom of exterior? Right. I get that's not underhand. So you're like definitely gonna eat a neuron at some point in there. Oh yay, unfortunate development. I don't think I want to do that. Just for my own sake. I'll shelter. I mean, I've been taking a lot of shelters. Arcade bullet hell. Okay, I will try to remember to look at that. You know, I'm like a big fan of bullet hells, but I don't actually play any bullet hells at all. At least none of the big ones. Yeah, it's a bit of a trap. I mean, there is a path you could take through Pebbles that's actually pretty easy. I think you might run into a handful of DLLs. Challenge 70 is not a bullet hell. It's like a Bennett Foddy type game where you spend most of your time struggling with the controls rather than actually like learn how to overcome the challenge. I guess the challenge is the controls, but it really shouldn't be. I mean, is Rain World an RPG? You play the role of the prey. I still have my map button bound to a different button from Drought. Oh, you're back here again? Oh, okay. Hope you enjoyed it. Missed this song. I forget which way you go. That pipe, I think. I think the structures in the background are like, actually I don't know what they are. I think Downpour has them in some places of a waterfront facility, but I don't really know what they're there for. Sometimes I wonder if anyone ever shows up to the stream because it's Rain World and they expect that I'm bad at the game. Like the average person is. Sorry. I mean it like the average person who live streams the game is probably playing it as like for the first time. And so if you join a random live stream, you probably expect that it's someone who's still in the process of learning. I keep using turn storage. I don't remember exactly what you're referring to. The thing that bothers me about Drought is that you can eat food while moving. That would have been a really nice thing to know when I started playing. Because you use food to do the double jump, right? So if you can eat while moving, that's free double jumps without any like time loss at all, except for having to go out of your way to grab the food. And the whole time I was thinking like, oh, I wonder if it's faster to use double jumps or to not, because you have to eat food for every double jump you do, or like for every 10 double jumps. I forget what the exact amount is, but the answer is yes, you do eat stuff while moving, and then you also do double jumps. How many hours? There's a number I can check. 2029. So I played this game a little bit. I still feel like that number is kind of low. I mean, obviously it's not, but I have more time in Terraria, and I don't speedrun that game. I play it casually. I kind of imagine there's someone out there who has way more time in Rain World, like 5,000 hours, and they just play it like casually. Every once in a while, they just kind of like wander around and do like something. It's like part of their routine, you know? I wonder if there's someone like that. $3,000 hours? Here we are in Shaded. Wonderful place. I actually mean that seriously. I think Shaded is wonderful. You just have to get to know it first. $39.20. Yeah. I mean, if you're like, I've played this game pretty much on a schedule. Hold up. Do I remember where to go? Yes. No? Yes, I do. There's some things you just never forget. It's not strange though. I think. Oops. Hold up. Okay, good job. First death. First death ever. I've never died before in this game. I think playing Lethal Company improved my spatial memory, if that's what you would call it. Because in Lethal, it's an important skill to be able to navigate through the facility and then remember the way to get back where you came from. Rain World is not like that. It's one map layout, right? So you kind of just memorize the way the map is, and you don't need to like remember where you've been. You just know what the state of the map is. But it's crazy that I at any moment I can pretty much memorize, or I have access to the map in my mind. The whole thing, like the map is huge. Maybe I should grab. Do I have a pearl? Yeah, brain is cool. Hey dude, I want that shiny thing you have. Thank you. You can rotate a cow in your mind. No one can stop you. That's like the most jank way to do that. Or you could just like climb up with the pole on the other side of the room. Subnautica or Grounded? I've been like super spoiled on Subnautica, and I don't think the gameplay looks particularly interesting. I think it's a cool game. I think it's neat. But it's like a resource collection survival game. Outside of the like exploration. Oh yeah, Subnautica 2. Wasn't that revealed like yesterday? I did see, well I didn't, I saw the video that it existed, but I did not watch it. I do wonder how they're gonna go about doing that. Oh, you did not get stunned very long. Today keeps getting better. That's a nice way to look at things. Oh, shit, it sucked. That was DLC. Yeah? I don't really know anything about it. I just know people really like the first one. I think it's kind of strange. Your first impression... Oh, hold up. I should do the tech. Your first impression of Subnautica is that it's a survival game. You have to, like, collect resources and, like, build a base. You know, all that kind of stuff. Okay. I don't know the spacing for this. There we go. I guess lantern isn't really necessary. And I will shelter, because I don't want to be eaten by birds. Where are the worm things? The overseers? I don't know. I don't know if I've seen one. I don't think you can really say if you like Rain World, that means you like survival games. That means like I think it's that Rain World isn't really it is survival, but in a much simpler way. Whereas you know a lot of survival games in like a generic way, it's about like overcoming the environments. You are in nature, and you need to build your way out of it. You know, collect resources and eventually like build a base, build a farm. You know, separate yourself from nature as much as possible. And like move beyond it. Rain World is like, you know, you're in nature. You can't just escape. You have to learn to be a part of it. And in that case, I think it's actually a better survival game because it's actually about surviving. It's not about, you know, the moment like in the first like hour of any survival game, except for like Don't Starve or like the more, you know, the more difficult ones. You know, you're not really caring about survival. Like in Minecraft, you can like dig yourself a hole and just sit there for hours and you're surviving. You know, but that's not really the point. If you want to be a little bit more sustainable, you can make a farm and then build a house and then you survive forever. You know, build like a small wall and you can't get attacked. And congratulations, you're surviving, but that's not the important part. The important part is that you can keep going. Keep getting stronger and like keep building a base and whatever. That feels like a very separate thing. But it's hard to like I think oops, I thought that guy left. The reason I like Rain World is not because of the genre or because I guess because of the platformer. Like I enjoy moving around. But it's just because Rain World is unique. It's, you know, not the genre, it's the game. When it comes to Minecraft mods and Terraria mods, I feel I don't like most of them. Sorry. I think a lot of them think of mods as an improvement of the game. Like, oh, Minecraft does this, but what if you did more, you know? What if you added, like, a bunch of boss fights, or, you know, a bunch of, you know, endgame stuff? Or, like, for Terraria mods, I feel like the idea with, or the feeling behind Terraria mods is the base game... Okay. The base game is limited, and mods improve upon it, you know? Like, look at Calamity bosses, or Inferno bosses, or any mod that, like, reworks the vanilla bosses. They want to try to make it better, you know, and also, like, texture packs. I remember that this is a very, like, obscure part of myself. I used to try to make pixel art in the Calamity Discord server. The Calamity mod Discord server. This was the last time I interacted with a Discord server actively. Forever ago. But I made pixel art and I shared it with people. I was like, hey guys, is my pixel art good? And they're like, it's too vanilla. You know, you're inspired too much by vanilla Terraria and not much, you know, you need to do better than that. The idea was that, you know, vanilla was bad, or at least not great. And the sprite artists who made the Calamity stuff, they were the really good ones. They figured things out, you know. And I wasn't a fan of that. I'm quite fond of Terraria's art style. Some people say it doesn't look great. Maybe they're right in some ways, but I don't think it really matters too much because, in terms of like visual clarity, the game does a very good job. I would like the centipede. and the gameplay is fun. And so who cares if some of the sprite works looks a little bit goofy. Oh, can I make it? Oh, of course. So a lot of the time, mods try to like keep adding content to keep like pushing things further, and I'm like, what if you just stuck with the way the game feels normally, and just do more of that, I've kind of had a small desire to play like an old version of Minecraft. I don't know what version exactly, but like an old version of the game with a mod that just adds more content in like vanilla, in the style of vanilla. The kind of mods that add like copper. Before, not like the because copper's in the game now. I forget about that because it does nothing. But like the kind of mods that added like new ore types that just make like tools and armor, tools, weapon, and armor that just like have slightly higher stats. Like that's kind of pointless, but I don't know. Something is like really appealing about that. Or like letting you make like emerald armor. Also, I saw a trailer or something for a Minecraft mod that literally turns it into an RTS. Which is crazy. It looks like a different game, but it's just in engine. They just took Minecraft like as if it was a game engine and then built an RTS on top of it. Very impressive. That does exist though, right? I forget what the game is called. There is a Minecraft RTS and it's like kind of mediocre. At least that's the idea I got from it. Hello. Welcome to the stream. No way, it's White Lizard. Featuring the White Lizard. Goodbye. That's nice camouflage you got there. Really blending in with the background. Can I just ignore you? Yeah, let's do that. I don't like you. That's like the worst possible spot you could be in. Let's just go the other way then. Oh yeah, I think that's really neat. The mods that let you see further. In one of the videos for one of those mods that increases render distance, they use Rain World music in the background. I think those are really cool because I think in terms of like realism, it bothers me that fog is realistic. Things that are far away are harder to see clearly, and that's just like how it is, But that bothers me because it's a way that the games hide their inability to render a trillion things at once. Actually they probably can, maybe a quadrillion, but when you have huge landscapes, you can't render everything in full detail, and even at lower detail, there's only so much. So at some point something has to go away, so let's add fog You'll notice with like some older games that didn't quite have the hardware to render everything, they're super foggy and you can barely see very far at all. But it's so annoying. Why it's like it's a video game. You can do whatever you want. Why not make render distance just crazy and see super far? Because it's always, fascinating to see like a huge landscape. Imagine with like no fog at all and like infinite render distance all the way to the horizon. That'd be sick. Although that actually might be complicated because games are flat. Do any games replicate like the curvature of Earth? Are you like right here? Yes, you are. The games where you can see like mountains in the distance. That seems like it'd be unnecessary. Outer Wilds. Okay. Yeah, sure. I guess so. Although I don't know how much it really how much it impacts. Like if you had an image of like a mountain range in the distance, with and without curvature, how different would it look? Would it even be noticeable? Actually, it probably would be. Minecraft is flat, obviously. So I guess it would just be until like the highest mountain. That's when you couldn't see any further. Okay. Something fascinating that I've learned. Yeah, those are levels of detail. As a 3D model gets further away, it gets replaced with like a lower polygon version of the same model. But it's good for performance, obviously. You're drawing less triangles, but it's also that's not the only reason it's a good optimization. The real reason is some way that GPUs work as they're optimized, or maybe something else. I don't completely remember. I'm not the greatest person to explain this. But for every pixel... Oh, shoot. Hold up. I need to think about this for a second. The way that like rendering works is that it does it in groups of 4 pixels at a time, I think. And when you're rendering super tiny polygons, let's say on a model that's really far away, so each polygon, each triangle is only it's like less than a pixel, even though the triangle is less than a pixel on the screen, it still has to check 4 pixels to draw that triangle. So you're essentially doing 4 times as much work for a model that's really far away that has really small triangles. So if you replace it with a model with less triangles, they're going to be bigger and thus less wasted pixels, essentially. Hopefully I got that correct. That's just such a fascinating way that it makes GPUs more efficient to make it work like that for some reason that I don't understand. Sometimes I forget in GameMaker, it's very easy to make the game lag. At least in my experience. Maybe I'm a bad programmer. Actually, I definitely am. But let me make like an object for an enemy and then spam that enemy in a room 10,000 times because I'm messing around, and then the game starts to lag horribly. I kind of get the idea that computers aren't actually all that powerful. But then someone with actually optimized code, you can run like so many computations so quickly. It's crazy. Especially if you utilize GPU. But in most games, your experience is that the moment there's like a handful of enemies on screen at the same time, not a handful, a decent amount of enemies on screen at the same time, then the game starts lagging and you're like, oh wow, it's so like inefficient. I have had plenty of experience with playing games at low frame rates or on the lowest graphics settings. Oh yeah, I am going through Pebbles. So I guess I could just go straight there. One bomb every game tick. That's a fun challenge. Can I beat Rain World? But I explode every frame. Also, speaking of computers doing things really fast, I hope you guys have seen this video. Someone beats Pokemon Fire Red blind and deaf. Which basically means that they have no information about the game at all. So they need to come up with a sequence of inputs that beats the game no matter what. Like regardless of what's happening in the game, this sequence of inputs will beat it. Most of the time. I think they got it to like 98% of the time. The sequence of inputs will beat the game. And it's not, they actually aren't playing it, it's a task, but it takes like several days. So of course it would be unrealistic to do for real. That video is amazing. Then they did it again. Literally yesterday. They beat Platinum, Pokemon Platinum, with a sequence of inputs that beats the game 100% of the time. And they literally wrote their own simulation of the game to check every single possible seed, because there's only 4 billion possible seeds for the game. So they only ever need to check 4 billion different possibilities, and they checked all of them, and their sequence of inputs beats the game in every single one of them. It's actually an amazing video. Yeah, the quality of software, or like optimizations in like how much space a game takes up. Animal Well is a good example recently. The whole game is like 33 megabytes, which is like super tiny for a pretty decently sized game. They just like really optimized it. You know, given the kinds of games I play, they don't tend to be that big, so I don't really worry about having to like uninstall games constantly to like make space. Well, maybe I shouldn't have thrown that. Also, I still have this grapple worm. I don't need you. Sorry. Animal Well. Did I not say that? I was talking about Animal Well. Because it's super optimized. Cogmind is 80 megabytes and half of it is just music. Well, that game is like very simple, like graphically. That's probably a big part of it. Like AAA games with like tons of like really high resolution textures and 3D models. Actually, I don't know how much space 3D models take up. Maybe if they have like a ton of triangles, but it's probably like a lot of textures, because like every single like object has like multiple layers of textures for, you know, like the normal map or the like the actual like colors or the like the roughness or the like reflectivity, you know, tons of layers of textures for rendering. Yeah, I don't want to go to the cancer zone. Sorry. I'm just not a big fan of it. No neurons eaten. Okay, I will. I'll eat that neuron in the tunnel right there. I'm not literally following a task of the game. Unoptimal speedrun. Compare that to, 2D sprites, where it's like, a few thousand pixels, maybe. And also maybe limited color, too. You can fit like an entire game's like textures on like one big image. Every single sprite used for the whole game. There's this other fascinating video about this game that was made for the NES. Which means that they struggled a lot with like data like size, and that they kind of explain like all of the optimizations that they did to fit as much game as possible into like the limited space. Oh, sorry, I forgot you exist. How do you do this room? Like this, I guess. Downpour jump scare. I have downpour enabled. Time to make a new speedrun category because this run has like a karma lizard and of those flower spears that I forget the name of always. That's such a significant change. We need to make a new speedrun category for it. Pixel soup. Is this bad for compression? I didn't think about that. It's amazing how different this is than Outskirts. Like, imagine a new Rainworld player seeing a stream and being like, oh, a Rainworld stream, let me see what's going on. And this is what this is the first thing that they see. Like, this is a completely different game. Anyway. Alright, Pebbles. Also, sorry if I dropped a bunch of frames. Was the stream lagging for a bit? The bingo. Yeah, I was a bit worried about that. If I wasn't in a good enough state to join that, I think I will, because I can still try to join, try to do the what is that? Let me check the Discord. October 31st. Yeah, I got time. I'll be honest, I didn't have an amazing experience with the last handful of speedrunning events. So I'm hesitant to like join every single one and be like, oh, this is gonna be great. But you know, I mean, you guys have done this kind of bingo event a few times before, so I'm sure it's been streamlined. Might get the wrong impression of how much dialogue this game has. Like, oh yeah, so you go around and you talk to robots. That's what this game is about. I kind of wonder how much would it make a difference to practice the bingo in advance? Like, what if someone were to have, you know, early access to the mod? Because I don't think it's publicly available yet, right? But there's people who are testing it. What if one person had access to testing and they just practiced a whole lot? You know, they just played with the bingo sheet a whole lot to get used to like a bunch of the different objectives, like what kind of items are useful to hold on to, or like where to navigate in the world to like complete objectives efficiently. And so in the actual events, they would have a huge advantage. Because that's kind of how it felt with the Twitch integration. Some people played with the Twitch integration mod on their own streams a lot, and they had a lot of practice with it. And some people did not. It would not help. I guess I have a lot of other questions about it, but it doesn't really matter. We'll just see how things go when we get around to doing the events. But I'll probably be interested. Aren't really satisfied with the current state of things. In like a reasonable way, or in a like unrealistic expectations kind of way. Gameplay of Airframe Ultra. I'm so good at this room. I guess I'll just try to go all the way down. Dude, I guess I'll just leave. I didn't want those fruit anyway. So the problem is not with the game, it's with that. Hello, Dropper. Would you like a snack? Or Matt, this is a bit risky. Yeah, there you go. Can't wait to be in farmers. Dropping tames, if only. Actually, that I don't think they'd be great companions. Just a guess. They don't seem to be the kind to want to follow you around and help out. Well, hopefully the game is good on its own. But that's not the problem. Back in Vulture territory, that's fun. I love that you can just do that, but it's too scary to try out in the moments, so most people don't go for it. Hello. Oh, that's a big one. Active modding community. How do you mod a game that isn't even out yet? Hello. Welcome to the stream. People are modding in their own cosmetics. Oh, lizard. Lizard detected. I really missed. Violence, little creature. Can't even eat lizards. What's the point? Where do you go from here? I guess it's just the normal way. Do I want to squid it? I assume you just run through this area without a squid. But I kind of don't want to risk that. They still have a grapple? You hold on to them throughout pebbles? Would they really be that useful? We have to be covering the... Well, actually, they're not completely covering it. Oh, I made a noise. It's all over. Take it to the depths for that, like, one long room at the beginning. I guess there's a few long rooms. Okay. I thought that would be an easy jump to make. Oh, we're back right here. Okay. Well, that's neat. This is actually kind of a cool route. It's kind of like fulfilling the purpose of being different than a lot of the other runs. Am I gonna run it? Probably not. That was a stupid risk to take. Except for the first 20 minutes. Does that include Shoreline? What about, like, memory crypts? You have to go through that. Unfortunate development. Everything to... Okay, well, obviously, you're gonna have a faster pace than this casual playthrough. It's chill, and you never run into DLLs that are just, you know, spread out across the whole room that you can't see until you've already jumped. $70 milliseconds. That's not much time at all. That's the kind of thing where you get lucky, and then you're like, oh, it's not that bad, and then at some point, some switch is flipped, and suddenly you die to that area like every single time. You know, maybe getting lucky at first gave you the wrong impression of how the area would actually go on average. That's my great bit flip. It's a bad thing that they don't happen. Oh man, I wish my computers randomly, you know, change the numbers that they're storing for whatever reason. You know, I've always wondered, like, oh, I almost pushed myself off. Please don't. Because I always think, like, a computer is so complicated and so dense with tiny little, you know, parts. How do they not, like, break down constantly? Like, what if, like, a single, like, transistor breaks for whatever reason? Wouldn't that cause a lot of problems in some, like, big chain of, in like, some big block of whatever, like, computation it's supposed to do? This one transistor doesn't work, and suddenly the whole computation is wrong. That is used for, like, tons of other functions of the computer. Like, I don't know, I feel like that kind of thing sounds like it could happen way more often. But computers generally work pretty well for a long time. You guys are just gonna hang out over there? I should have done something there. Hello, I exist. And goodbye. Oh, the karma flower is still there. But there's a new problem. Of course, they weren't actually gone. I think we're safe. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Talking about computers for some reason. Yeah, some smart people have to figure out how to make these, you know, very complicated chips that are assembled together into computers, which are then used to run code written by some random person that probably doesn't know how to do that very efficiently. Sometimes I wonder. So okay, you know, like the people who make like computers in Minecraft. You are using a computer to run code that runs the game, that then runs Redstone, that does computations. How many like layers is that? And also ignoring the Minecraft Redstone part, how many layers of are there between like the actual like computer chip and the code? Because as like a game developer, you know, you mostly care about actually making the game. So making your code 100% optimized is usually kind of a waste of time, unless it becomes a problem. I guess normally it's like you write code that is somewhat inefficient, but then it goes through some process. I forget what it's called. Um, you write the code and then something happens to it to make it like efficient, and also make it possible for the computer to actually read it. Sometimes I just accept that there's things I won't understand. Or not. I mean, I'm always assuming just a little bit. Hopefully everyone is. There's no shelters. There's a popcorn plant though. I understand Rain World. That's something that I know, at least a little bit about. This is. I already have a survivor. A nomad. Also, almost wanderer. I guess it's subterranean farm, or I'm in farm raised now. Subterranean drainage. Yeah, I don't know which ones I'm missing. Time for Ranger. Everyone's favorite part of the game. I like these kind of like slope platforms that are like really easy to climb up onto, even though they look pretty high. Oh, Hello. And now we wait. You thought you could just walk through the game at your own pace? No. Hello. Welcome back to waiting. Yep, waiting simulator. Yeah, I guess I should hold up. Yeah, I'll throw this. And I have another one. I sure do hope that throwing the other one broke the AI and makes them not want to like function at all. That was a crawl turn wall climb, if I remember the name of that. You can use it to climb any like flat vertical wall. It can go way higher than this. It can go. Hey, hey, come back. Whoa, whoa. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's one way to do it. Just average reindeer behavior. How do you get the farm raise? Go left. You know, roughly. Why do they do this? Just walk just walk slightly higher than normal, and you won't get stuck. It's not that hard. You know, this reminds me of Factorio. And DLC, I think it is. I know very little about Factorio, but I saw a bit about that recently. And I guess spoilers if you are avoiding it. But there were some new creatures that use procedural animation, and I thought it looked cool. Especially since base game only had like one creature type essentially, or maybe two. Like the whole like tower defense part of the game, it seems pretty simple to me. So if there's suddenly a whole lot more creatures to defend against, you know, shooting them with guns to stay safe, but like that seems like it would be really interesting. I won't be the one actually figuring out how to like build the factories and whatever. I'll just be watching and be like, oh, that's cool, yeah. I'm sure I'll see like a 2-hour long video of the whole experience. Someone said that it included some mods. I was curious what exactly was up with that. How much of it is taken from mods and how much of it is new original stuff. Thank you, Reindeer, for having a functional brain. Yeah, just let me just throw this spear into the wall. Similar premise, but different things. So it's a. Was that the mod that was like also had space related stuff? Because I'm a little bit familiar with that. You go to space. Okay. But then I assume that the content is the actual content of like what you find in space or what you do or whatever. That's different. Okay. That's cool. The thing with the thing about Factorio, I'm sure if I played the game I would enjoy it, but it seems incredibly daunting. Mostly because of one question that I have. One thing that I think about when I imagine if like theoretically playing that game. Let's say you have some basic material, right? That you have to create. You have to manufacture this material. And it's used for a ton of different crafting. Okay. So ideally, you mass produce this one material because it's used in so many different recipes, right? If you make a factory, let's say you take some raw materials, insert it into this factory, and that produces a ton of this material that you want. How do you then make use of that material? Right? Oh, hello. Because you're going to be building other factories for other resources and, you know, components or whatever, all over the place, right? Do you make a conveyor belt that goes from one factory to the other? But then what if you build another factory? Do you then just have to like take some resources off of that conveyor belt? Isn't that just going to become a huge mess? That sounds very stressful. I'm sure that some people are like, oh, that sounds like a fun puzzle, but to me that sounds really stressful, and I would want to plan out literally the entire factory before even playing the game. But then I would need to know like what resources do each factory require, and also like the arrangement of your like raw materials. I have played Ministry. That is a factory building game. How did it work there? I think the thing with Ministry is that it's just way simpler. How many resources are there really? And how many of those resources do you use in other factories, right? You mine like copper and lead, and you just kind of like take those resources directly. You make silicon, and you just like put that into your base. Okay, now you have silicon. You make you mine titanium. You know, most of the resources that you produce aren't used in other recipes, and you don't need to like make factories to build the objects that you place. You just create them. That is another thing about Factorio. You can't just place objects. You have to craft the objects first, right? That alone sounds like it adds so much. Like you don't know. Oh, hi. I'm sorry. I. Okay. Like you don't know how many like conveyor belts or inserters you need to make. You only know how many of those you need after you've built your factories, right? So you just produce as many as you can. I don't know. When I think about it, it kind of just sounds stressful. Anyway, we're almost done. Guess maybe I should shelter infiltration. Oh, hey, dude. He want those mushrooms. These kelp, they like to do that thing where they like wind up their like lunge attack. That's how they get you. You don't expect them to start moving really quickly all of a sudden. I think that was one of my favorite things about UFO 50. The fact that I got to sample a ton of different genres. Because whenever I hear about a new game in a new genre that I haven't really touched much before, you know, how do I know that I'm gonna enjoy the game? So I usually don't get too many games that are like out of my like comfort zone. UFO 50 was like one game to buy that you then get, and then you have access to sample 50 games, and at least a handful of them you're probably gonna enjoy. But like there's a whole JRPG in there, which I don't think I've played much of that genre before. if at all. But I played the game and I was like, hey, it's like decent. There's like some puzzle games in there. There's some strategy games in there. I'll get recommended some random niche indie game, and I'm like, oh, that sounds cool, but I don't want to get it without really knowing if I'm gonna enjoy it or not, which obviously doesn't make any sense at all, because you can't know until you play the game. Exactly afraid of. This is some weird problem that I have where I'm scared of being disappointed. Maybe it's disappointment. Maybe it's not. I like when games have demos because then there's no questions. There's no like hesitation. It's like, oh, let me just play the demo, and that's that. That's the only way you think about it. The moment you have to buy the game, it's like I have to think about it really, really hard, and I usually don't end up buying the game until I've watched gameplay of it for hundreds of hours, and I'm like, okay, the game is good. Except at that point, I will already have hundreds of hours of watched experience, and it won't be a blind, first playthrough. Or of I don't know if I would play Rain World if I didn't see it. So the way that I found out about Rain World, I think I saw one of the original like trailers of the game, and I thought it looked neat, and then I just kind of like got the game when it came out. I don't know. I didn't really think about it too hard. I just thought the game looked cool and unique, and you got to play as a Slowcat, and that was that. And then, like, years later, I saw tons of videos that everybody's saying, hey, this game is really cool. It's a unique experience. You have to, like, play it blind. Like, I didn't play Outer Wilds, if you want a comparison. That was how I was introduced to Outer Wilds. Hey, this game is really good. You should play it blind. But here is an hour-long playthrough of the entire game that you could just watch instead without any extra effort. Rain World could have been a game that I saw people play. I was like, oh yeah, that game is cool. And then didn't actually play it myself because I felt like I had gotten a good enough experience from watching people play it. I also used to play a lot of Flash games where there were no expectations at all. It was just like a random game. Every new game you played, the only judgment you had of it was of the title and like the artwork for the game. That was your like I played games based on how cool it looked on the outside. Literally just judging the books by the cover. And if a game sucks, like, who cares? You just stop playing it and you move on to the next, and there's like hundreds of them. Kind of a golden era. This is other game that I've heard a lot about in the same way as Rain World or Outer Wilds. And I totally forget the name. It's like a block pushing puzzle game. Void Stranger. That has to be it. I've heard great things about it. The way that I've heard the game is it's really good. You should play it, but you're gonna be pushing a lot of blocks. You know, that's like most of the experience, but somehow it's still like really amazing, even if it's like doesn't sound like the most appealing thing on the surface. I don't know. UFO 50 has given me some quite unique experiences. It does like to throw you into games without any explanation at all, or tutorial, or context for what is even happening. And you just kind of have to go in and figure it out, and I did enjoy some of those experiences quite a lot. Often, you know, if I find a platformer, I'm not gonna have that interesting an experience. I mean, obviously, maybe the game is really good. It's good levels, unique movement, and whatever, and I can enjoy the game, but it won't really be unique. I've played plenty of platformers before, and you know, I generally have a good sense of how platformers control on average. One of the games in UFO 50 is a platformer, but it messes with the control scheme in a unique way that kind of forces you to relearn how to play the game, how to play platformers. And I think it was a very unique experience for that. They realized that if they just made a generic platformer, it wouldn't really be that interesting. The average player probably has plenty of experience with platformers, and they're just gonna, you know, play through the game in like 10 minutes and that'll be that. But they decided to mix it up, and somehow it made it a better experience, even though you spend the first like 5 minutes kind of flailing around randomly. But that's also kind of like Rain World. Anyway, I don't know what to do now. Maybe I'll play Saint. Here's my rusty Saint speedrun attempt. Yep. Oh, okay, you know what? Whatever. Nah, I'm not gonna restart at all. That also means I should probably get the Karma Flower. Actually, I don't know how much the Karma Flower matters. No, that's the problem. I don't know if that's the kind of game that I'm looking for. Maybe that's a strange thing to say. Generally, on average, you know, if I never played Rain World, if this wasn't my thing, I would probably say that I like a very specific type of game that is very gameplay focused. You know, not really story, not really about the story, not really about like realistic graphics or whatever. Mostly just here's the game that's fun to play or challenging. Good luck, you know. Like Spelunky, like a lot of roguelikes are like this. Terraria, you know. I would say that is the kind of game that I enjoy. Not really strange, unique games like Rain Worlds, you know, where you know you have a blind experience. Because you know these roguelikes, maybe it's a genre I'm familiar with, but they're still difficult because there's, you know, unique items and like difficult bosses that you have to overcome. Okay, I'll take the suggestion. Like Spelunky, I have played platformers before Spelunky, but it was a unique kind of difficulty, you know. But also an incredibly fun experience because I knew exactly what I was getting into, and I did get completely beat up. But overcoming the challenges of that game is very satisfying. Yeah, that's why I was interested in Cogmind. That I remember now. Because the game is difficult and I wanted to challenge myself. Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. On the browser? Okay, well, I'll look into that. No, my... Oh, actually, you don't do a wall punch there. That's a rivulet thing. Oh, I should play rivulet again, too. That's a fun character. Yes, I do see it. It is strange. I tried to mess with the settings to make YouTube not ban things, but I can't really see. I think the way that I have the chat popped out prevents me from seeing everything. Yeah, I don't know. Yep, I understood that message. Welcome to the stream. Hey. Okay. I need to spend a moment to remember what the route is. This is where we use Yeeks, and I definitely where you don't die, it's Wormgrass. Mm-hmm. I think I like somehow got the tongue under me and it prevented fall damage. That's neat. I was playing Survivor. You just missed that part, maybe. But also, am I not surviving as Saints? Are all the Slugheads not also survivors? Well, thank you for the feedback. I'm also a big fan of gameplay mechanics that definitely work all the time and not completely random. Like whenever you want to do a big jump, you definitely can do a big jump like exactly when you want to. Without any randomness or problems with, you know, that process. Just a 100% functioning game. I don't know. I don't even know what the... Hello. This is a... welcome to the stream, by the way. But this is a very casual speedrun in several layers of quotation marks. I was talking a lot about this earlier in the stream. Oh. That was kind of dangerous. I'm thinking a lot about what I want to do in the future for this channel, for like speedrunning, because you know what I've been doing for a lot of this, for most of this channel, is speedrunning related stuff, but also I'm not 100% motivated to continue speedruns for Rain World, because I kind of feel like I've already achieved most of the things that I wanted to, and going further than that would require a lot of, you know, a lot more attempts. You know, the more optimized a speedrun becomes, the more effort it takes to improve it. The more random, the more attempts. If I wanted to go back and improve like the Artificer run or the Rivulet run, like that's just a lot of attempts, a lot of dying. It just kind of gets frustrating. And you know, that's pretty much exactly how the experience with like with Spearmaster went. You know. Just killed that Eek, yeah. What about it? You know, by the like halfway through the Spearmaster attempts, I was already like tired of it. But the problem with that is that I didn't have a pre-existing run to fall back on. It was only doing more attempts of it to just try to succeed once. I should grab that Eek back there, but I forgot. I'm going back for some echoes. What is, I feel like I'm missing something here. Streammaster changes people. You don't just leave the same person. Oh, okay, I got hit. That's a wonderful excuse. Kind of deer tech. Like, do I really want to spend several hours, multiple days, or multiple weeks to retry the same thing over and over again for pretty much no return? If you want to see good speedruns, go check out Shrub's Twitch channel. He streams semi-regularly. Well, yes, regularly, but not like every day. Less down for speedruns, more like Survivor, vanilla stuff. Like a 10% or 100%. This question again. Would you like to become a slug cat? No. I'm like fine as it is. I don't really want to like struggle to like find food and die repeatedly. That doesn't sound great. I mean, I don't think the goal was to try to like compete. I think that if someone were to beat some of my records, I would not care too much about trying to like beat it back. If anything, I was just trying to set the foundation. Say, okay, here's a run, here's the speed run of this category. I've figured out a decent route and like some decent strategies. Someone else can take this and optimize it. It's just that, you know, not many people did that. and the runs have stuck around. Like Gourmand, like there were just no Gourmand speedruns at all. And I'm like, okay, someone has to figure out a good route for this. Hiking in... Yeah, just go outside. Literally touch grass. Whenever people are like, imagine like 3D Rain World or imagine like VR Rain World. Yeah, it's called outside. It's called like in a random forest. I don't think Rain World is good summoning salt material, unfortunately. There's just not enough history with like a single route. Because usually he only focuses on a single speedrun category for a game, like the 90% run or the 100% run or whatever, you know. But it's so spread out in Rain World. Like I guess the most developed category would be like any percent, but even then there's like, you know, a handful of like innovations across like the whole history of the game. Oh, that worked out. I mean, I don't think Rain World's the kind of game that has like, hello. Yeah, I just slid off screen into a centipede. I think most of the improvements in the speedruns have just been from players like practicing movement. The more you practice doing like E-slides or EI hops consistently, the faster you can go. Where am I going next? I'm going to... I don't know. I think I'm going to... Undergrowth. AKA drainage system. There's an echo there. Let's just grab both these fruit immediately. Slightly scared of the scavenger. Okay. Because I think one thing that makes summoning salt videos so interesting is when like a new skip is discovered or a new strategy or new route or something, then things get mixed up. Or like a particularly interesting character, like someone who has like a ton of unbeatable world records and the process of trying to beat those runs, you know. Also, just Rainbow, it's just such a strange game to speedrun because it's not like for a lot of games you can say definitively, this strategy saves, you know, this many seconds. Can you really say that for Rainworld? The amount of time that any individual segment takes, it's constantly fluctuating based on like creature RNG. And plus your movement is never going to be 100% consistent, so you're always going to be a little bit slower, a little bit faster. Yeah, I think the more interesting thing to talk about would just be the movement system. Like, oh yeah, by the way, like some of the tech in this game is like frame perfect. I think the movement system is very interesting to look into. Guy is following me. Also, I forget what this area looks like. There we go. A little bit of trial and error. I never really memorized this room completely. I still have wall pounces on. I usually turn off wall pounces for Saint, but it's not a huge deal. Oh yeah, wall pounces, super fun to implement those into runs, but also how relevant are wall pounces really? Like for Survivor, there's like a few spots where they're useful. Most of them are for like rivulets, but that's like, you know, one category in one DLC with like 3 runners. Well, like I think 4 people who mainly contributed to trying to improve the routes. I think the main problem is that other speed games just get so much more optimized. Like in a random Summoning Salt video, the first like 5 minutes is about like the first few people who speedrun a game, and they're already like pretty optimal. Like they follow a good routes, they like are pretty good at movements, they don't die at all. Okay, that is a good starting point. Then it's about people like going really deep into the crazy optimizations, implementing like frame perfect tricks, crazy new routes and strategies and skips. You know, that's like the interesting parts. Rain World is like, it's at that baseline level where like a good run is like a decent route that doesn't die. that is like what is now like a world record run for Rain World. That is like a baseline for another game. It's just that the randomness prevents you from like perfecting it, you know. Isn't this wonderful? And scavengers. Yeah, Survivor 90% is so short, and it has so few creature interactions that it might as that it's like it might as well be a different game. You can actually like try to optimize each room's individual movement. Wiggle flight is not happening. The most I've practiced it for a little while. You can maybe get the same height as like one of the jumps. Like I'll do a demonstration. Like that kind of jump. You can get this kind of height with a crawl or a wiggle fly. And it's really hard to move horizontally at all. If you want to move horizontally after wiggle flight, you need to go like twice as high and then fall the rest of the distance. Yeah, not happening. Uh-oh. Oh. I do enjoy narrowly escaping death. Yeah, just the skill issue. Just smash frame perfectly. I thought that was a blue lizard. What are you? Nicer mouse. And you are the... I'm glad that worked out. It's been way worse. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there was some drama in the Osu community. I'm sorry if no one knows what I'm talking about at all, but this guy had a like special keyboard with a macro setup that basically let him mash twice as fast. I forget what the details were. Because in Osu, you're using one hand to like aim the cursor, and then the other hand to press the buttons. And ideally, you want to press the buttons like as fast as you can in some situations. Other times, it's more timing based. But he had some sort of special keyboard with a built-in feature that lets you mash really quickly. And I mean, I think it was obviously cheating. Like people were like, "Yeah, this is just cheating," but they could have justified it a little bit by saying like, oh, it's just a built-in feature of the keyboard. I'm not like using external hardware, but I guess it is external hardware. You know what I mean. And what about games where like refresh rate matters, where maybe having a higher refresh rate monitor gives you an advantage, and you know, thus some people just have an advantage by having a really expensive monitor. Rolling in Tetris. I think that is kind of exclusive to like an NES controller. Like that was a very specific... Oh, hello. Demon. By the way, everything that has happened in the Tetris community, or like classic Tetris, in the past, what, like 5 years? 6 years? I mean, maybe longer. It's all been like fascinating. It's crazy to see such an old competitive scene evolve so much. What? There's really multiple. Two of you. Is this any percent or story? I guess I'll do any percent because it's shorter. Mira's are getting stunned by a snail. Actually, I forget what the any percent route is. I think I just go to Pebbles and then Moon and then I leave. Because I just need the echoes. Yeah, and it doesn't really matter what order I do them in. Because I return to the shelter anyway. I'll go to Pebbles first. Or actually, okay, some innovation that I could see potentially happening for Rang World, although it'd be absurdly difficult. There's some tech that you can do by pressing the jump button twice extremely quickly. Like within like 1 frame. Like, what is up with this game right now? Seriously? Like, imagine pressing a button, releasing it, and then pressing it after, what, like 16 milliseconds? Or is it longer than that because of the frame rates? After not much time at all, right? And I've timed it. I've, you know, seen how fast I can press the button twice in a row. It's, like, pretty slow. It's really hard to, like, fully release a key and press it super quickly. Maybe a different kind of keyboard would actually make that easier. 40. Okay, so it's like 20 milliseconds. That's probably the wrong number. But pressing a button and releasing it and pressing it again 1 frame later, super, super difficult. But it technically lets you do some tech that may be faster in some situations. If you had 2 jump buttons, it'd be really easy. Because you could press 2 buttons, like, within a frame of each other. You already do that for, like, EI hops. Maybe if you use 2 fingers on the same key, but that is also really difficult. Maybe that's a keyboard thing, too. Where if you, like, because normally with a keyboard you have to release it a certain amount before you can press it again, but maybe with a fancier keyboard you could release it just little bits and press it again, and that would still count as an input. You can't map 2 buttons to the same action. I've tried that before. I think I saw someone maybe was successfully able to do that kind of tech once, where they press the jump button twice really quick. Like, just look at the input display. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen. But I did, I think I used a macro to set another key to the jump button, and it was, like, slightly possible. But using a macro like that is, like, kind of weird. Bind jump to a scroll wheel? Wait, that could actually work. It probably doesn't even accept that as an input, but that kind of idea does let you do stuff in other games. Because you can scroll pretty quickly, especially with a scroll wheel that kind of moves freely, with like not much friction. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if you use that, but I know that it is a thing. But that's the thing in some games where you use the scroll wheel to jump. You can like bunny hop or something, or like Icebox in Minecraft. Is that a thing? It's a tech that I actually use in the depth because time is literally just slower down there. So you can do the instant pounce with some difficulty. Or eating a mushroom, that also lets you do it. Please. Thank you. I mean, so when you do a slide pounce, right? I messed that up. When you do a slide pounce, you can't do the jump out of the slide pounce or the pounce. So okay, let me retry this. It starts with a slide, and after a short delay, you do a pounce with another jump input. If you press the jump input too early, it does not work. If you press it too late, it doesn't work. So there's a specific window where you have to press the jump button after the slide for you to do the pounce. That window is also there for the very first frame of the slide. However, you have to press the jump button to start the slide. So if you press the jump button to slide, and then immediately press the jump button again, it lets you do the pounce. Immediately. But, you know, pressing the jump button twice that quickly is, like, super, super difficult. It's only possible for me with a mushroom or in the depths, which I do occasionally do in the depths. It's really fun, but even then it's pretty difficult. I also think it might depend on like what part of the frame you're on, because imagine, you know, at the very beginning of the frame you press the jump input, and then on the next frame you press the jump input at the very end of the frame. You know, that would give you almost the time of 2 frames to do the input instead of just 1. I don't know how relevant that is, though. Sometimes I think about that. Like, maybe at what point in the frame you're on matters for the timing of things. Hello. And goodbye. Kind of is a moon. I just remembered that Rubicon exists, and I'm feeling slightly worse. Oh, when they started talking. I mean, you could just go track or go check like a video. I mean, that doesn't sound reasonable to like do an input while the code is running, because that would all happen in 1 frame still, unless it takes an extra frame to update. I don't know. Like, you do the jump input, it recognizes that you're trying to jump, and starts the code to get you into the slide state, and then on the next frame, you're also pressing the jump input. It starts checking the slide, like initiating you into the slide, which then it says, oh, you're doing a jump input, let me give you a pounce, before it recognizes that you're, I don't know. I'm kind of making stuff up. Input tick rate higher than the physical tick rate? That'd be weird. Well, I'm saying that because it sounds strange, but I guess maybe it does. There was this joke video, this like April Fool's video that was like about game design, but it was so jargony you couldn't even understand it because it was all made up. One of the ideas in that video was negative input delay by storing a buffer of the previous frame, and whenever it does an input, it reloads that buffer, does the input, and then updates to the current frame. So it does the input as if you did the input last frame. But because of the input delay, it kind of counteracts and it's instantaneous. But that pretty much just means that you have to always save the current state of the game and the last frame state of the game. So that's like twice as much information to store at any given moment. Oh. Only from the Matrix. No, that was the point of the video, is that it was all just made up. But also, like, that doesn't sound completely impossible to implement. It'd just probably not be worth it at all for... Like, you'd probably get better input delay by making the code more efficient rather than try to like predict or like retroactively have inputs work retroactively for like one frame. But rollback is more about predicting the future, yeah? It predicts what is going to happen in the next few frames, but if it gets an input that doesn't fit that prediction, then it just updates it, so that's a rollback. Sorry, I probably got that totally wrong. This made-up idea is that when you do an input, it goes back in time, does the inputs, and then goes forward in time. So that every input is technically happens one frame in the past. Okay, we can fly now. Don't forget. That's a lot of snails. That was super risky for no reason. Geometry Dash. Okay, sorry, this is completely unrelated. Well, it's somewhat unrelated, but also kind of a different game. So Geometry Dash is a game with a very high-skilled community. There's a very, very high skill ceiling, like super high. Some of the more difficult levels required like several frame per inputs on 60 FPS or 60 hertz. But in previous versions of the game, the physics tick rate would match your refresh rate of your monitor. So you would actually get an advantage by having a higher hertz monitor because you would have more opportunities to click. Let's say there's a jump that's very difficult. It's very precise. On 60 FPS, maybe you only have one frame to make the jump. So if you press the jump button on that frame, you survive, otherwise you don't. At a higher refresh rate, let's say 360, that would, or I should make this simpler. 120. Okay, let's say you're on 120 hertz. No, does that make it better? Let's say it's 144 hertz, so it's a bit more than double, right? But it's not like you have 2 frames to do the inputs, which would be, each frame would be roughly half as long, so it would be the same time. Maybe you actually have 3 frames to do the inputs just because of the way things line up. That might actually give you a slightly wider window to make the jump, and thus it'd be easier. So the more resolution, the more like fine-grained your resolution is, the potentially more time you have to like make the really precise inputs. So high refresh rates makes the game easier. There's a mod that was made for the game. I really don't like the centipede. There's a mod that basically for each frame of the game, it's divided into like subframes. And if you do it to inputs, based on the timing of your inputs, it basically does a jump input on that subframe based on the time that you actually press the button. So you could be at a really low frame rate, let's say like 10 FPS, okay? Halfway through a frame, you might do an input. And the mod would check and be like, okay, you did an input halfway through the frame. Let's, like, during the calculations of like the physics update for this frame, let's calculate your movement such that it registers a jump input halfway through the frame. Even though the game is only at 10 FPS, which would be unplayable with the old system because you could only do an input every 10 frames. Or 10 times a frame. No, 10 times a second. Sorry, I got distracted by getting killed by a mirror exploder bird. But you can only do 10 inputs a second at 10 hertz. But with the mod, you could do, what, like 1,000? I don't know what the however many times it decides to like divide up the frames. I think it's 1,000 or maybe higher. Maybe it's based on the pull rate of your like keyboard or mouse. But it basically can be set arbitrarily high. So whenever you do an input, it like checks that frame. Okay, you did the input halfway through the frame or like a quarter of the way through the frame or whatever. That's when it like, and then it updates your movement based on that information. So you can essentially click, you can do an inputs at any time, regardless of the frame rate. Because, you know, the more difficult levels that become so absurdly difficult that that kind of timing stuff actually matters at a high level. Yeah, a game that has such good input delay, it actually goes back in time such that you can watch yourself play the game before you actually do the input. But then you kind of have to, you have to like actually do the inputs. It's like you have no free will because you already played the game. There's a scene in some random movie I don't know anything about, and it really bothered me. It was okay, I don't know what movie it is or anything else about it, but in one scene there was a mirror that showed like 3 seconds into the future. And if you looked at the mirror, you would see yourself doing something 3 seconds in the future, except you would then have to do that action because it was like predicted in the future that it would happen. You know? Does that make sense? One frame earlier. The one frame, the frame perfect grandfather paradox. Anyway. So basically, the mirror would show the future, but that future was set in stone. So if you're watching yourself in the mirror, you would have to do what you did, what you saw yourself do in the future, you know? Except, that doesn't make sense. I feel like that just not, like, surely I could look at the mirror, see myself do something, and then do the opposite. So I could, like, actively decide to change my action based on what I saw myself do. Right? But then the mirror wouldn't be predicting the future. I feel like everything would fall apart. Unless the idea behind the mirror is that you have no free will and you just have to do those actions for some reason because the mirror, like, breaks the universe. But I thought the idea is that even if you don't have free will, your actions are still determined by some sort of system that happens in your body, right? So let's say that whatever action you decide to take is a sum of all of your sensory organs. So whatever you see and hear and whatever. Add that all up. Oh, great. Okay, I guess I won't do that. And that determines your actions. And maybe it's deterministic, so you can't really make decisions, but it just like happens, Even then, looking at that mirror, oh, come on. Surely the mirror would be another inputs to your eyes. You would see, and then that would change your behavior, even if it was deterministic and out of your control. Technically, that would still change. I don't know. Sorry, that scene kind of bothered me, even though I know nothing else about the movie. But I guess that was the whole idea, is that it was kind of like terrifying and impossible. There's a bunch of spiders. Hello, don't mind me. Just passing by. They actually killed me. Oh, now I'm actually dead. Yeah, there was an idea that if you could hypothetically know like the position, like every property of every like particle in the universe, you could predict the future. Clockwork Universe, I think is what it's called. But because of like quantum mechanics, that's just not true, because it's just random inherently. I think I'm probably getting that wrong, and I'm also probably oversimplifying something. That's always how it is with physics. Oh yeah. That was the red centipede, by the way. Spicy variants. Oh yes, I really wanted spiders again. Like last round, I was like, oh, I only died to like 3 spiders. I could have died to like even more. That is certainly a sentence. I should have gone this way. I hope I don't run into a mole. Okay, there's two of them just hanging out down there. Oh, I realized why I feel kind of strange right now. It's because this is not the route. You're supposed to take the other path to get to filtration. But I just forgot about it. Oops. Okay. Yeah, I don't normally go this way as Saint. Oh, that's a bad spot to be in. Okay, thank you for moving. Well, here we go. A little bounce on the head for fun. That's a good sound. Oh, that's actually not bad. They're down there. Something is in that room. What was that? Was that a Miros vulture? I'm just gonna wait for a second. I don't want to instantly die when I enter that room. Guess we'll never know. Oh, okay, they're back. You know, I thought about going the other way because it's easier. Oh, I missed. Goodbye. As in goodbye, Mirror Soldier. I don't want to see you again. What are all these centipedes doing here? Usually I don't see that many. He's actually potentially dangerous. Yeah, centipede tech. That probably didn't even make you go any faster. The camera sensation kind of makes it hard to tell where you are in this room. It needs to go up. Literally, like, at any moment when moving between these rooms, you could just die. Yeah. I probably should have gone up. Yeah, maybe. Oh, yeah, now you're locked in here. Huh? How do you feel? Oh, you had it down? Pretty cool patterns they make on the pipes there. Yeah. I think I might just end it here. I could get through Rubicon, but then I might just die again, and it would take forever. So I think I've you know, showcased the experience well enough. But anyway, I don't know about Rain World. I don't know what to do. Feel a little aimless. Maybe I'll look at some speedrun stuff. There is definitely things that are happening in the near future. The multiplayer stuff might be interesting. As in, actually, will definitely be interesting. Maybe the lap mod could help with speedruns, but once again, I don't know. Start making Rain World mods. I could make like a document describing how I would want a mod to look, and then give it to someone and say, "Please make this for me for free." I don't think that's gonna happen though. So no. There's the Watcher, of course. That's still quite a while. I think mainly there's UFO 50. Okay, it's a Mooncat. I guess that's not like it's not like a surprise or anything. You can already see on my channel I've done speedruns of that game. I want to speedrun it more. And there's some speedruns that I have yet to get to or yet to optimize. So I want to speedrun that game, and I want to show how cool it is because it actually has a sick movement system. I think it's like kind of somewhat similar to Rain World in a really weird way. Obviously, like, minus the whole like massive world and procedural generation and like ecosystem, but like I have like character that's kind of weird with a strange control scheme, but once you get used to it, it has like really in-depth movement. Yeah, in that way. And another game that I'll get to later. Yeah, I want to speedrun some of these games. So yeah, hopefully I'm back for good. There is a chance that I randomly don't stream. That's still possible, but I think it's less likely. It's less likely now. I'm probably gonna just go back to the schedule as normal. Yeah, I'm glad I'm able to stream again at least once. Maybe this is the last one. Who knows? So yeah. Thanks everyone for watching. See ya.